Welcome, welcome, welcome to Moms in the Huddle. We're in the huddle. No parent stands alone. I am your host, Erica Morgan,
Yeah.
mom of Samaj Morgan, Division One, University of Michigan player, wide receiver,
Go blue.
and mom. I'm sorry, and mom of Tyler. I can't forget my oldest. You know what I'm saying? He's 27, but that's still my baby. He was my first love.
That's still your baby. Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
And so I am Jillian Blackwell. I am the mom of three boys, Big Mac, Mackenzie, Jonathan, JC, and then Robert. That's why we're here. My son plays for University of Wisconsin basketball, and we're here to be in a huddle because with moms in a huddle, no parent stands alone.
Yeah. So just to give people the background about who we are and what we are in the huddle with parents. We are in the huddle with coaches. We are in the huddle in life. Things happen in life. The NIL deal landscape changed everything, right, Jillian? It changed everything for how we look at college football, basketball, any sports that you're in college and you can get paid for your name, image, and likeness. It has changed the landscape.
Yes,
So
it
we are in the huddle and bring people in the huddle to where you're able to listen to them. We want you to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X,
is.
Twitter, which is the previous X. And so this is the time, if you have questions for our guests today, for you to be able to come and ask those questions.
Yes. Well, I'm excited about today. We
Me
got
too.
you see all this blue. I'm surprised you to have maize, try to put maize in there. We are
I did.
you did, but where is it?
I could change it, but I couldn't do the two colors at the same
Okay.
time.
All right, all right. I know you were trying. I know you're trying. But who do we have? Who's gonna be in a huddle today with us?
Well, we have a young man that every time I seen him, he was super
Okay.
quiet. But you know what? The quiet kids are the ones that I find they have great character. They're humble. They're sweet.
Yeah.
They have so much to offer, but don't play with them when it comes to whatever their sport is and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Jalen Hoffman from the University of Michigan. He is a tight end. So think about a receiver, but he's just bigger than a receiver, right? They couldn't make him a receiver because he's bigger than a receiver. So he's the big body out there. He's the big target body out there that when they
Okay.
throw that ball, he gonna go and get it.
That's
So
good.
Jalen Hoffman, I'm super excited to bring him and his mom today. His mom, Janelle Hoffman, is one of our team moms. And just a small piece of her story, we met our children freshman year. Samaj and Jalen came in the same year, and
Okay.
Janelle was the walk-on team mom for walk-ons. So
Okay.
we had walk-on parents, and she came. And when I say her faith and just who she was as a mom was so beautiful.
That's
And
awesome.
so she'll probably tell a little bit more about her story when she comes on, but and how we met and connected. But she had a story of faith, perseverance, and believe in God for
Mm,
a full scholarship for her baby, even though he was a walk-on. And we talked about it. It's the
wow.
craziest thing. We sat and talked about it. So she's an awesome teen mom, and so we are going into our third season together with our boys.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's good. Well, yeah, I'm interested because one of the things I like to look at is I like to look at data, and so we had Jack Janicki and his mom on Moms in the Huddle. I think it was episode 9 or 10, and they were talking about his journey as a walk on and red shirt as well. And so I was starting looking at some of the stats.
right.
And did you know, Erica, that less than 2% of college athletes start as a walk on and eventually earn a scholarship? Less than, not 2%, less than 2%. And if
Wow.
you think about like Power Five schools like Big Ten, they carry about 15 to 30, but only 1 to 3 actually get a scholarship.
Wow. No, I did not know that.
That is amazing. So when you think about statistically impossible, you need to have a mommy who is praying, a mommy who's standing on the word of God saying, I know it's going to happen for my child. So, and again, you can need less than percentage because God's going to make it happen. So I'm excited about hearing her story and hearing his story as well.
Yeah, because when you think about walk-ons, I didn't know that percentage was less than 2%. But when you hear about walk-ons, people just think, oh, the walk-ons don't play. The walk-ons may not work as hard.
Mhm.
But what I heard from many, many people that would go and watch a lot of the practices, including my husband, was that Jalen is a bomb player. Like he
That's
was working like he was a first string player. And I'm
I
sure
love
he'll be able to tell some of that journey. But the interesting thing is this year was our spring ball, 2025. Jalen came and exploded on the scene. Okay. This young man came and was catching ball after ball after ball. I was able to pull this clip because I said, I can't do it justice of just bringing this young man on and not showing anything about him. So before we bring him to the stage, I want us to watch the video is about a minute and maybe 20 seconds, but I want us to watch this young man as he go through the play that pretty much was like a trick play that made him explosive. And this young man did his thing. Let me bring this to the stage.
Okay.
We got to just highlight this young man and who.
First of all, what's that play called?
We called it Superman. Each team was allowed to have like 2 trick plays, but we only had 1.
Okay.
So we all wanted to run it. And
Superman.
At first, they weren't going to let us do it because it was last 2 plays of the game. So we ran the ball the first time. And then the second time, we're standing there in the huddle waiting for Bryce to get the call or whatever. And everyone in the huddle was like calling, let's run it. Like, doesn't whatever coach called, like, let's run it. And Bryce came in, they let him call it. And yeah, they brought a safety blitz. So I wasn't expecting that on the last play of the game. But so try to block him long enough so he couldn't get back there. And then just got out there. Bryce threw me the ball. And then I was just had to run fake outside zone to the right. And my job is just to block the widest person on the edge of the defense and then block them for 2 or 3 seconds or however long and then leak out down the sideline. And
celebrate.
If they ever let fans call plays, that would be what would happen.
yeah.
When I say I found that I said I have to find something about this young man that lets us know the skill he has. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not what's the name. You know, you got to kind of pause it. But when I saw that, I said, this young man came to the scene and had an amazing spring game. And I remember going to his mom saying, Janelle, I remember me and you talking about what God was going to do for your baby. And look what he did. And let me tell you, when God prepares a table before you and put that thing out, it was beautiful. So,
but even when you hear him talk about it, he just has such a calm spirit.
He does.
It's that confidence. You can get excited when it's, again, now y'all going to see what I already know about myself.
Right.
Even in the interview, he was just calm and explaining it because it's in him.
It's in him.
It's in him.
That it sure was.
That. Yes.
Well, without further ado, let me see. Let me put this up here before we bring Jalen in. Doug, remember we had Doug Cohen on the show from M10 Social. He said, hey, all, Doug Cohen here. He was a former walk-on himself at Michigan.
I love it.
Yeah, so he talks about that. So, Doug, we're going to be talking to Jalen today. Jalen was actually able to earn a scholarship. So, without further ado, I want to bring his mom, Janelle, and I want to bring the Jalen Hoffman to the stage. Welcome to Moms in the Huddle.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
You got to say you're in the huddle.
We're in the huddle.
Come on, Jalen. We need you, Jalen. Where you at, Jalen?
We in
the huddle. That is so awesome. Janelle and Jalen, we are so excited to have you guys here. We know that your journey started off as didn't just start off at Michigan as a walk-on. Your journey started when this young man was just an athlete in all kind of sports he excelled at. So what I first want to do is first ask Mom a question. Janelle, when did you understand that your son was athletic, and did it start with football?
So I think like any young man, when he was 3 or 4, he started playing soccer. I mean, because that's the most appropriate age sport that the kids go first. So he played soccer, and I think he had some natural gifts that showed on the soccer field. I mean, he was really fast at that time. And then he got into football, I think. So Pee Wee football. But Jalen, what's interesting about Jalen and Pee Wee football, at least, because it's at least here in Virginia where we're from, there's a weight class. So he was always about 5 to 10 pounds overweight to be a ball carrier or a quarterback. He had to play the offensive or defensive line. So
Oh,
he had
wow.
a stationary in Pee Wee football in Virginia. And then it wasn't until Jalen was like 80 pounders. I think by the time he got up to 80 pounders, he was fine from a weight perspective. So then he could play quarterback and do some other things on the football field. And I think he, in Pee Wee football at least, and he did play some of this in high school, he was a really good linebacker. He played defense. He wasn't just an offensive player. I remember at the time here in the DC area where we live at, the Commanders, former Redskins, there's the professional football team. So RG3 quarterback we had drafted. And so Jalen was number 10 on the football field to mimic his favorite quarterback on his favorite team.
Wow.
And then he branched off into baseball and, was really good in baseball. He pitched when he was younger, but really good hitter. And so he actually gave up football and he was exclusively baseball for about 5 years, Jay, give or take.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, basically.
Didn't pick back up football until his freshman year in high school. And so he did play baseball in high school. So this picture here you're sharing is from the high school team.
Okay.
He did play baseball freshman and sophomore year in high school. And then he came to us, and I remember this conversation. He came to us one evening and said, I don't want to play baseball. I want to focus exclusively on football.
Mm.
And I think I took that some type of way. I'm not going to lie. If I remember Jalen, I was like, no.
Right.
But he was committed to that. And he talked to us and proved that he was serious. And so at a certain point, we knew he was going to have to make a decision if he really wanted to pursue, college athletics. And so he chose football.
Wow. All right, Jillian, you know how I get, Jillian, okay? I will run my mouth, so you go ahead. You can go next.
No, I would, one of the things I sense, and oftentimes you can sense stuff just by watching film and reading stuff. And he seems as if, and Jalen, I don't want to talk like you're not here, but I'm talking to Mom for a second. It seems as though he's a very serious young man and knows what he wants. Is he like that? So when he brought that to you, what was that, in the 10th grade?
Yeah.
When he brought that to you in the 10th grade, did you take that, okay, because of my child's seriousness, okay, we got to follow this through? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think one, it was I think the first time he said it, it was like, okay, like you're not serious, like you're just caught up in some moment. He'll be back to baseball because he had played it for so long.
Yeah.
And had done well. And ironically, a lot of the members of his travel team that he played baseball with, they all were going to the same high school. Okay. So I just knew he was going to stick with baseball. But no, he was serious. I think after the second time, he was like, no, I'm serious. I want to quit and play football. Yeah. It was like, oh, so you're serious. And then, we had a conversation around that because, and I would let him tell this side of the story only because he has the intimate workings, but because he didn't pick football back up until freshman year in high school, all his training, all his skill set was geared towards baseball.
Right. Totally different sport.
It's a totally different sport. It's a totally different kind of training aspect in certain respects. And so I think, not necessarily due to him or any of the players on that freshman team. I think it was more of a coaching viewpoint. He came away from that with, I need to make up the ground. So we got a referral for a private wide receiver coach to help him with his footwork, speed, pass catching ability. We did all of that. And Jalen still trains with that coach.
Wow.
But he got real serious and it was evident. And I think seeing him that serious and having the talk with him about the time and monetary commitments, not because we would not support him, but I think it's important for kids to understand what it takes to support some of this activity. and why
Absolutely.
it's important that we ask you to honor your commitments and be serious if this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
So
That is true. And so Jalen, I know that you are a football player. What was the spark that shifted you from baseball to football? Because like your mom saying, only you can answer that. It's like, what made you say I want to dedicate a lot of my time now into football other than baseball?
I think just like, at least for when I got to high school and after playing my first year of football, even though like I really wasn't playing that much, but like it was just 10 times, I had 10 more fun
Okay.
football than baseball. And like a lot of my friends were on the football team or were playing football as well. And it was just, I had more fun playing football than baseball, even though I was better at baseball at the time. I just had a lot more fun playing football.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you were an athlete for you to shift in high school.
Right.
Then you end up at Michigan. So it wasn't like you was just, oh, well, I was better at baseball than football. You ended up at Michigan. So take us to that journey of going through high school, Jalen. Maybe seeing people get offers and figuring out how was Michigan, when did you visit Michigan, how often did you visit Michigan? What got you that walk-on opportunity? Take us through that journey starting in high school.
All right. So I didn't start getting offers until the summer before my senior year. It was small, like FCS schools. And those are the offers I got, like bigger schools like Maryland, NC State, and stuff like that, more local near Virginia, were like interested.
Okay.
Like, nothing very serious, I would say. But one of the trainers and trainers I work with in the DMV area, he coached Coach Newsom, like trained Newsom when Coach Newsom in high school. He's from Virginia as well. So Coach Newsom was the tight end coach at the time, and like reached out to him if he had any tight ends that would like be good for a walk-on spot, and he sent Coach Newsom my film, and then Coach Newsom reached out to me and offered me the walk-on spot.
Wow. Did you guys I'm sorry, Jillian, did you guys take a journey up to Michigan, you and your mom, when you were walking on?
Yeah, it was actually like a week before signing day, I think. So he called me, like, say it was a Wednesday, and then we were up there like that Saturday or that Friday night visiting Michigan.
And was it a done deal for you? Signed, sealed, delivered? You were like, this is it?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. So what was it like? So when you committed to be a walk-on at University of Michigan, go blue. Can you remember the first time you stepped onto the field as a walk-on? Like, what was going on through your mind? And actually, that's a question for you, Jalen, but it's also a question for your mom, because we're going through it with you as well.
Yes.
First time I stepped on the field, it wasn't like I wasn't nervous, but I wanted to see like the level of competition it was. Because I always believed in high school and like during my process of being recruited that like I could compete at like this level, at the biggest level. And I always thought that, and I just wondered like what it was really like, and I wasn't nervous or anything like that, but that was like probably the main thought running through my head.
Again, I love when I hear young men who are competitors. That's one of the things that they say all the time. I know I wanted to see who was on the field or on the court, and I knew I was just as good as them. So that's why I'm here. That's fantastic. Yeah. And what about you, Janelle? What was it like for you to see your son? Again, you've gone through baseball, you've gone through football. He makes a decision that he wants to play football, and now he's at a Big Ten school, University of Michigan. His number gets called, and he's on the field.
So his summarized story. I'm gonna give you the mom and dad version of this summarized story. So we actually just come back from a visit at another school who had offered him a scholarship that weekend, and I think there's I'm gonna use a term, recruiting fatigue for parents as you get to the end. Like, you're tired, you're burnt out, you've traveled, you spent money, you just want your child to be happy and pick a school. Like, I just need you to be happy and pick a school.
Yep.
The first part. So I remember it was a Monday, and Jalen came into our room as me and my husband are in there chit-chatting. It was like, hey, the Michigan coaches are asking about me. And it's December, y'all. So we were just like, have you talked to the coaches? And he was like, no. And I was like, whatever. Because, to Jalen's point, he did have some Big Ten and ACC schools looking at him. And some of those schools had him on campus multiple times, but it never translated into an offer. So we were reaching the recruiting fatigue stage as we were nearing the end. And then I think, so that was Monday. I was going up to the school. I was the chair of his senior year. I was the chair of the football banquet. So I was going to meet with the coach to talk about budget and some other, issues related to the banquet. And Jalen called me and was like, are you still coming up to the school? And I said, yeah, I'll be up there at 3, just meet me at the door to let me in. But he kept calling. And I was like, so he wants some money or something. So I think I put him on like, do not disturb while I finish work until I got up there. And so I just was like, whatever. And so I get up there and I walk into the weight room. The coach's office is the far end of the weight room. I walk in and I think I see the linebacker and strength and conditioning coach. He's like, congratulations. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And just kind of walked on. I think as like mom, sometimes we have so much going on. I have so many tabs open. I'm just trying to get into my next task. And so I walk in and sit down. I'm talking to his head coach in high school. And he goes, well, we need to talk about Michigan first. And I said, well, what about Michigan? He said, oh, they called and offered him this morning. And I was like, what?
Oh my goodness.
So, we quickly ran through the banquet stuff and then had a really good conversation with his coach and Jalen about Michigan. And later on that evening, the coach who is Jalen's coach, but also Coach Newsome, not only is he a mentor and trusted advisor for Jalen, he has become a trusted advisor for my husband. So if I was fatigued, Terry was fatigued time 10, like he was just over it. And so I remember I told Jalen, I was like, he walked me back out to my car when I was done because he still had practice. And I said, you better have your uncles call your dad because this man is going to like flip. And, I give all credit to the coaches at Michigan. They were on the phone with us that evening and probably spent an hour on the phone with us. We asked any type of question. They answered it. Matt Hibner, who was a tight end at the time at Michigan, him and Jalen went to the same high school. Him and Jalen are close. So everything Newsome and the coaches told us, we directly called Matt Hibner and was verifying, fact-checking everything. And then he had a decision to make. And I remember I said something, and we laugh at it now, but Jalen did say, I believe I'm an FBS D1 athlete. I don't want to go to a school that I feel is beneath my talent level. Not because there's anything wrong with those schools, but he was like, I feel like I'm better than the experience I'm being offered.
And you know what? That's why I put this comment up here. Doug Cohen said, because he went to Michigan too. That's how I felt. I believed I could compete at that level. I didn't want to go to a smaller school and wonder if I could have ever competed at Michigan. So that says something, because Janelle, you said something so key. You got fatigue. Now, this is where we talk about in the huddle, we get real, because it's not just glitz, glam. Oh, this is great. I'm at Michigan. How did you really feel about the offer of a walk-on at that time versus a scholarship?
So it was interesting. So this is the funny, we probably could laugh about this now, but I remember Jalen was like, you're really going to give him a scholarship? He was like, Mom, it's Michigan. And like,
that's right, Jalen, go blue.
I mean, which is true. Look, like, me and my husband are born late 70s, and so we grew up watching football. We are into sports, and, Michigan, along with Notre Dame and a couple other the schools you saw on TV every Saturday.
Yeah.
Right. So we grew up understanding the significance of Michigan football. What we didn't have the perspective for, what we do now, is the inner workings of Michigan football and what makes it special, and so I give all credit to the coaches. They were very candid, asking and answering, allowing us to have access to them to ask all kinds of questions. Matt Hibner was great, got on the phone with Jalen, and then, we had a family meeting and kind of made a decision. And unfortunately, the school who had offered him a scholarship in my opinion, was pretty nasty about the Michigan offer. To the point of if he went and visited Michigan, they were going to yank his offer, so he just decommitted. But it was so testy. His dad and I had to tell him, you can't talk to these people without us or your head coach on the phone.
That's right, Janelle.
Because they're like, no. And so he decommitted, and we went up to Michigan, and the rest is history. So
Wow.
Wow. Well, and what I keep hearing over and over again is that you said the relationship with it's a part of the family. So it's not just a coach or a trainer.
Right.
The relationship with your husband. And that's what the huddle is about. Like, who are you surrounding yourself? You mentioned even trusted advisors, right? Who do you trust? Because one of the things that Erica I talk about all the time is that we raise our children and they get to a certain age and we do this. And so you want to make sure that you prepare them, and some certain things they're not going to be prepared for, but they're mentally prepared, and you surrounded them with people that can go along with the journey that they trust. And so I think again that you had a great support system. So what can you talk about your support system now? Now you have your parents, right? Obviously, but they're in the DC area, right? But you're in Michigan now, and you're in 3 years ago, this was all new to you. How did you transition into, my parents are not here with me, I got trusted advisors there, I trust the school, it's a Big Ten school, I've been dreaming about this. How was that for you emotionally? I know that was a fully loaded question, but how did you prepare your emotions and your all of that to prepare to play for a Big Ten school, knowing that your majority of your support system was back in the DC area?
Yeah. At first, like, it was different being so far away from home at first. Yeah. But again, like, being around like the team as much as we are, and like the people in our building, and like you're surrounded by your teammates 24/7. So it's like you don't really feel that like homesickness or missing your family as much as you do, because you're surrounded by another family basically. And Michigan has like a lot of resources as well, people you can talk to if you ever have any issues and stuff like that. Like one of I don't know his title, but we call him Dr. KD. I'm really close with him and build a connection with him. He's always around the building, like eating with us, hanging out, whatever it is, he's always around. So I have a great connection with him too. So
that's good. So, that's great.
Wow. Well, Jalen, I will say, you get to Michigan. Let's bring you to Michigan now. We just left the DC area with our mom and our dad. You're at Michigan. You go up to your first practice. How do you feel when you walk in there, and how do your teammates make you feel when you walk in there?
I felt very happy and confident, I would say, just being able to like happy for being able to make it to a school like Michigan, even though like walk on, not a scholarship, but still make it there. And then I was really like especially my freshman year, I felt very motivated to like know that I was more than a walk on, and that like I can actually play here. That's like how I felt the whole year, really.
Yeah. And so here's the thing, even your freshman year, you were making a lot of buzz. Not many, and it's not to say it's a negative thing, but not many walk-ons come to a school, like the University of Michigan, and make a buzz at the position that you play. I mean, you were making a buzz above some of the people that had scholarships. That's what I was hearing, so that's what make your story so motivating. Take me to the moment when, because you were able to work with Coach Harbaugh, weren't you? How did you feel with working with one of the greatest coaches in college history?
It felt great. Like, I mean, I obviously being a freshman walk-on, like I wasn't really that close to him for the 1 year he was my coach, but just like hearing him talk to us and like coach the offense up on a bunch of different things, learned a lot, and just like seeing how the programs ran and like how you should act and how you should perform and like everything, like how you do things, I would say learn the most from that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so 3 years in, what was it like when you first heard that you were going to get a scholarship?
Oh, wait a minute, though. We got to take him back to before that spring game.
Okay,
Because
let's go there.
that's something right there before we even get to the
What
scholarship.
was the initial, what was those things that you were doing? And, I believe in seed time harvest. So you were planting the seed over time. What was that seed in that time? The things that you were doing. Go ahead, Erica. Ask the question.
No, because you okay, you got that offer because this is the moment we're at. But
Right.
there was a moment before I'm pretty sure, Janelle, correct me if I'm wrong, Mom, but there was a moment that I don't know if it happened in spring game, but I'm pretty sure that maybe that was spring 2025. Maybe the scholarship wasn't sitting on the table then. So you had to prove yourself, right? Take us there, and then we go from
and I'll let Jalen tell that, but actually, I believe Jalen had that conversation actually before our ReliaQuest Bowl.
Oh, okay.
And got that news before the ReliaQuest Bowl. And look, let me say this. It is true we were a walk-on, but Eric, I remember, and I've had other moms. So as I'm sure, Jalen, you guys experienced in Wisconsin, Michigan football parents are actually a pretty tight bunch, all committed to the success of our boys.
Yep.
It was not glaringly obvious who the walk-ons were, which I think is a positive.
Absolutely.
Michigan treated everybody as family. There was no, unless you actually knew, you didn't. Yep. You really didn't know.
Same for Wisconsin. Yeah.
Yeah. And so kudos to them that nobody could tell the difference between the boys' status of scholarship, non-scholarship. But we were happy to support Jalen in his 2 years at a phenomenal academic institution, while he continued to make progress, on the field. But out-of-state tuition is expensive.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Out-of-state University of Michigan tuition. Because you can do out-of-state Lawrence. That's actually pretty expensive. But you can do some out-of-state that's not, but we talking about University of Michigan. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Janelle.
Yeah, out-of-state University of Michigan is expensive. We are, full of gratitude and gratefulness that we could afford to do that. But it was also like, okay, Jalen, if you think you have a future here, we want to, we worked with, Jalen is a confident young man, but we've always tried to empower him to take ownership of his future and engagement with the coaches and learn how to self-advocate, and do all of that, with our support. And we're happy to step in if you feel you need us to, but we would like you to take that first step and be able to establish that dialogue and advocate for yourself. Wow. So we left that conversation up to him, and he proactively had that conversation with the coaches, Erica, before the bowl game.
Wow. See, I didn't know that. But see, like I said, Janelle, your baby had been proving himself. Like, I think dude was just out there balling. My husband, I remember him saying, man, Jalen, that tight end, he gonna be something. He's like he a beast. And Jalen, you wouldn't even know that because you just out there working, doing what you do so diligently, working with the boys as far as how y'all camaraderie is. You're right, Janelle. Michigan, you really couldn't tell that who was a walk-on, because I didn't know when we even met that your son was. It was like we were all there. But let's talk about that status. It can be looked at as taboo. It can be looked at as you're negative. You're not the positive to the team. You're not really valuable to the team, or you're just the walk-on. Because truth be told, Jalen was one of many walk-ons, and some walk-ons did not come back. Right. So that's the story that people don't talk about. We're sitting here talking with you guys. This is your success story, but some walk-ons didn't stay.
Yeah.
And it's looked down upon, which it should not be, but it is. So as a mom, how did you feel to be a part of that journey and be real with us? How did it make you feel versus,
I would say, yeah. I would say, and I remember we talked a lot about this, you and I, before games, after games, we're traveling. As a mom, I think there's a couple things. you're not in control of the environment.
Right.
Yeah.
You have your faith in your child because you trust and believe in their skill set and their talent and their ability and know-how, but you're also trusting people are going to do right by your child too.
Yeah.
And I had no reason to distrust any of the Michigan coaches because in my opinion, they had been nothing but forthright and welcoming, and Jalen was given the opportunity to play. And I would say Coach Newsom said that up front, and Coach Kasula preaches the same thing. Harbaugh said the same thing. I think Sharon abides by this too. Like, look, you come to camp and you ball out, you don't get an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And so it was what my husband tells Jalen quite a bit is maximize every opportunity.
Every moment.
Mm-hmm.
As a walk-on, unlike a scholarship player where, the team and the institution has a monetary investment in a scholarship athlete.
Yeah.
And that is hard earned and well-deserved for those children who, including us who are now on scholarship. Walk-ons don't have, not because they don't care about you, but there's not a monetary investment at the time. So it's, how do you continue to maximize your opportunity, and not build up the resentment or feel like you're being passed over for opportunities, and, maintaining the positive, I can do this attitude, and continue to strive for success. And I really think some of that comes with emotional maturity. Well, look, they're 17. Like when he reported he was 17, the doctor had to call me so they could do his physical because he wasn't 18 yet.
Yeah.
And so, they are growing young men. They're not necessarily emotionally mature all the way.
Yeah.
But, part of our
boys, girl, ain't it?
Part of our advice to him is, you're gonna have to own some things that it may feel different to you, but we're here to support you through it, and we're always here to consult.
Yeah.
If you have any questions.
Wow.
So I would say we did a lot of empowering of him, but me, I was praying. I have screenshots on my phone of Proverbs 3 verses 5 through 6.
I know that's right.
Oh, that's right.
So, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. So it's a journey of me, faith, perseverance, belief, and just, I know my baby can do this.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is. Because ain't no mama like the one you probably saying, like the one you got, Jalen, because mama, we're going to gloat over our boys, especially if you got a young man that you're like, okay, my baby, my baby, my baby. So Jalen, now we're coming back to you. Take us to spring 2025. Did you know going into that game that you were going to have an amazing spring day? Like, I mean, because you didn't only do that one touchdown we seen there. You had great catches. You were consistent. You looked real good out there, and you were playing with the number one high school quarterback, but he's here at Michigan now. That was in a nation. How did that feel to play with in that game and with Bryce Underwood?
It felt great. I mean, Bryce is an amazing quarterback first. He's outstanding. So, I mean, you don't really have to do much as a route runner. He'll just put it on you. Yeah. But going into the game, I mean, I did know that, like, I was going to have that type of game, honestly. Just because the way, like, the spring game's set up and built and stuff, like, the ones and twos really don't really play past halftime unless you don't have any more people on your team.
Right.
Or but like most of our best players don't play past halftime. So throughout like the whole spring, I was always repping with the ones and twos, and I was always playing against those guys. So I was playing against our best players, and like I was going into the game, like I was the only tight end on our team that was playing the full game at least. Just like I just like had confidence that like I've been going against our best players, like, and still making a bunch of plays in practice and stuff like that. Like, I should be able to like dominate, whoever else is left in the game. No
Go
disrespect
ahead.
or anything, but
No, but that's called confidence. Jalen, you like, yeah, I knew going into the game that I was going to dominate because, I waited all this time for this stage to shine. How big are you, Jalen? Like, how much do you weigh and how tall are you?
I'm 6'3". I weigh like 250,
Now, when you came into Michigan, how much did you weigh before you came in?
like 215.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a big fella, big fella. So we've talked about mental toughness, confidence. We've talked about your physically being fit. Janelle, I hear you, a praying woman. How did your faith, Jalen, get you through those tough times? And I hear your mom; she stood on a particular scripture. Was there anything that kept you through? Like, okay, I know my mom and dad praying. I know I'm physically fit. I got this. I'm confident in my physical. I got confidence in myself mentally. Did you draw on anything else that your parents sowed into you in terms of, trusting God?
No, for me, it felt like once I got here, I had no other option but to make it work and get a scholarship, just due off the fact of how much money my parents were spending. And
so he ain't never lied. His motivation was, my mom and dad got to stop spending. Jalen, I love that answer. You know what? I love God. Listen, they were spending a lot of money. Go ahead, Jalen. I'm sorry. That was
all that money, one, and then all the time in high school driving me to camps.
Yes.
All this stuff like that. I don't know. It just felt like to me it would have been a disservice if I just gave up and a waste of time and money. So
I just want to say I find that interesting because we never complained to Jalen about anything.
right.
And from a monetary, nothing. It was, as long as you're serious, we will support you.
That's good.
As long as you are clear in what you want to do and what you want to achieve, we will support you. Now, the only caveat we said when we sent him off to Michigan is we paid a lot of money. You gonna keep them grades up? Because I'm
don't get it twisted. You better do what you need to do.
Yeah. So I think that was the only kind of don't play with me don't play too much. So, but I mean, I part as a mom, I think I'm happy Jalen has that awareness, but it definitely wasn't something we were we're paying all this money, you have to do this. It was never that. We are very fortunate that we can do that.
Yeah.
We just wanted him to focus on school and, be great at the task at hand for you. Let me and your dad worry about everything else.
But be grateful. But I will say, a lot of parents that do come on Moms in the Huddle find something out different that their kids that they didn't even know. But listen at what he said that was on his mind. My parents are paying a lot of money for me to be here. So what I'm going to do is I'm getting that scholarship. So his drive was you guys, was mom and dad. And that's what's so beautiful, Jalen, because I'm here and you seen the things that your mom and dad sacrificed to take you all over the world just for football, baseball, and all that stuff. And then you're like, no, they sacrificed a lot. So I gotta be here. I love that, Jalen. You said that was my focus.
Yeah, that on top, and then that on top of just me loving football, wanting to feel like I earned that scholarship.
Yeah.
Those are the two main things that when workouts and stuff are tough. Spring ball camp is tough. So that's what I leaned back on, I guess, when I felt like it got hard.
Yeah, it's a lot of books on knowing your why. Why are you doing certain things? It sounds as though you knew your why. Your why was one. I love the sport. I made a decision. I've been playing baseball. I made a decision that I want to play football. So that was the one why. The other why was my parents have made a sacrifice, and sometimes people forget their whys. So that it sounds as though you're very focused and determined that these are my two whys. I'm going to go for it. Yeah. So what would you say, Jalen, to someone who is a walk-on, doesn't necessarily have to be at University of Michigan, but any school? What one piece of advice would you give to them?
I would say this for any athlete: walk on, scholarship, it doesn't really matter. Just I feel like every time you practice, play, or whatever,
Yeah.
just like make your coaches not have a reason not to play you. I would say like
Mm.
them to have to be able to play you. Like you have, you know what I mean? Like don't screw around, don't mess up. Just be on task. Know your playbook,
Yes.
everything, and like after that, your training will follow. So
That's great advice. That's great advice. And
I-
I love that you expanded it. You said it doesn't matter. This advice goes to anyone. It's not necessarily walk on or whatever, a player. And that's across anything, just give people a reason to want you to be a part of something great. And you're a school that's doing some phenomenal things, and you're part of making history. I'm sorry, Erica, you was going to say something.
No, I love the fact that he gives that advice, because a lot of people will wallow in, like you say, being a walk-on, or I'm not probably going to get there, or looking at the circumstances. It's like Jalen, like, no, I'm here and I'm a football player and I'm gonna get out there and I got confidence that I'm going to do good. So I love that you have that a part of you. So when it comes down to moments in your life, are there any historical moments that you can take us back to that has built you to say, it may not be football, but historical moments that you treasure? I'm coming to you too, Janelle. Okay.
you probably have to go first, Mom.
Let Mom set it up. Are there any historical moments? Let's say when you was a little choo-choo.
Okay, so let's talk about this picture. So Jalen had the opportunity. So the White House Easter egg roll.
Yes.
The score tickets is a lottery. You have to put your name in. You are randomly picked. There's no necessarily guarantee you're going to get tickets. My sister, Jalen's aunt, I think she was in law school at American here in DC at the time. And so she scored tickets. And so she was like, and Jalen at the time was the only nephew and grandchild on my side of the family. So she was going to take Jalen, and he had a good relationship. He still does. Him and my sister were really close, because she took him to the movies. He would go see movies with nobody but my sister. Mm-hmm. So she scored tickets. So my office at the time was right across the street from the White House in downtown DC. And so I brought him into work with me, and she met us there. And he had a complete, like, I'm not going to smile. No, Mom, I'm not going to kiss or hug you. He was at that stage. Like, no, I'm not going to do any of this. Right. And so I remember I was like, I hope you have fun. And we didn't hear anything. And then my sister, I think when they got back, she sent us all these pictures of him at the Easter egg roll, having a good time, and pictures with the Power Rangers, shooting basketball with Barack Obama. We were like, dang, you had a day.
That's where I wanted to get to, right there. Because this is one of I said, I love Barack Obama. I don't say what you want to. People can say what they want to say about Barack Obama. He is one of the coolest, greatest presidents that we have had that sat seat in that White House, and he was a Black man, because we didn't see a lot of that, and we only seen that happen one time in history that we know of. So. Yes, that's what I wanted to point to, Jalen. Your mom set it up for you. Now, what are you doing here? That's Barack. I think I see Malia behind him. What were you doing there, Jalen?
We were shooting free throws. I think he was like, I forgot what it was.
With the Globetrotters, yeah.
With the Globetrotters, it was like if you missed, you had to do push-ups or something like that.
Oh, you missed?
Wow.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Aww.
So the only thing my sister would say is the kids could care less about Barack Obama being the president. They were just like, this is another person who's trying to play basketball, and you're actually in my way. Can you stand to the side? She said the parents were like, oh no, I will scale the fence to get this picture. So he said he had a good time, but in true Jalen form, I remember when my husband and I asked him, like, how was your day? He gives one word answers. And it wasn't until we got these pictures that we were like, oh,
wait,
you had a really good day.
What's the whole story? No, that's beautiful.
Right. Stop the press, Barack. And that was his second term, right?
That's historic right there.
This was his second term. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is very Jalen. This is historic, young man. So you've been a part of great historical movements.
Yeah.
You probably made history at University of Michigan in the way that they used you, because you've even played. You played as a walk-on, so you just wasn't on the bench. I've seen you on that field several times when we went out of. Did they take you out of town too? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And see, what many people don't know is with Michigan, and a lot of people understand, each week it's determined who goes out of town.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So sometimes you don't know the week of if your kid is going out of town, whether you got to get a hotel room and different things like that. So Jalen, you were making historical movements at Michigan in the fact that they were taking you on the road with them.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? How did that feel?
We're invested.
Yes. How did that feel when they said, okay, Jalen, you're going out of town with us this week? Because it wasn't just you're automatically going. Everybody don't go on the team.
It was like throughout that camp last season, I just like knew. I felt like I don't know. I just earned it, I guess, and like I knew I was gonna go to every game after camp. Made a bunch of plays in camp and like had a really good fall camp. So once we got to like preparing for the first game and like I wasn't with the scout team, I was with the offense, getting reps and stuff like that. I knew I was going to be going to every game and playing special teams and everything like that.
What is a scout team? Explain to the people that's listening.
So scout team is if you're not in the ones and twos, you're on the scout team helping the other side of the ball get ready. So you're running the other team's defense or the other team's offensive plays, helping them get ready for the game.
Okay. Oh, wow. Would you say that helps you get ready for becoming a one?
Yeah, definitely. My freshman year, as long as you don't have like a negative outlook on it and think like, oh, I'm just on scout team, like you actually take it seriously. I mean, you're playing against like my freshman year. I was playing against the best defense every day in the country. So when you definitely play against that level, those are ones on defense, and every day you're gonna get better at football. So,
Wow.
So my question is, not necessarily related to football, and Erica knows I always go there when I'm talking to young athletes. We are indeed student athletes. We are on campus. We're focused. I can tell you right now, we have Life 360. My son is either in his dorm or in his apartment or in the gym. But he also, likes to have fun. So what do you do for fun, Jalen?
Sometimes we all like hang out at teammates' house or just like get together and just chill, like watch whatever's on TV and just hang out, make food, go get food, normal stuff like that. Nothing too crazy.
Okay. So part B to this question.
I know. See, I know where she goes.
Part B to this question. So, you're number a one now. Someone's what number? Number 42.
Yes.
The girls know number 42. Where's number 42? How are you balancing? I'm seeing a head shake. How are you balanced? Because that could be tough.
Jalen, we're going to ask Jalen, baby. We ask every football player, every basketball player.
Listen, I got 3 boys over here. The girls are coming. So how are you staying focused and on?
Yeah.
This is why I'm here. Like like the horse that has the things on this. How are you staying focused?
Vitals, yes.
So I have a girlfriend, so I just focus on that and our relationship, and that's it. That's everything else is just based on everything else I focus on is just school and sports, and then her.
Okay.
So you have a girlfriend, Jalen? How long, Mom? Go
From
ahead.
the mom's perspective,
Yes, go ahead, Mom. Yes, ma'am.
So, Jalen, you and Chris have been together since senior in high school?
Yeah.
Okay. So they've been together since senior in high school, but Krista, we do like her. She's at Virginia Tech, double majoring and, working on her own goals and things. And I think that's what, from the outside looking in, makes their relationship work, is because they're not, she's not totally, caught up in him. She has her own goals and things going. She's not caught up in Michigan football. And I remember Jalen and I were talking, chit-chatting one day. And I think I made an observation that, you really, for a long-term partner in your life, you really want somebody who has their own goals, who strives to be excellent on their own, but also can support you at the same time. And likewise, he would be expected to do the same thing for her.
Absolutely.
But I think it works because they both have their own goals they're working towards, but they support each other.
Yeah.
But they're not in the same environment. Like they're both off at school pursuing their own dreams and goals.
I love that.
That is awesome.
And so as a mom, I like that.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah,
Absolutely.
especially when they're not caught up in your son. One of the things I can
Yeah.
say, Maj has a girlfriend. She wants to be a physician assistant. She I like and will support you in football, but I want to be a physician assistant here, maybe even a doctor. So when a young lady can come in and have her own thing and just not sitting there wanting to just, I want to be a football girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
When they're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Yes. That's beautiful.
Jonathan has a girlfriend, actually my two oldest boys, and they're very focused. I mean, I'm like, what's she doing? She got 5 jobs. She just graduated from college. She is so focused. And so I really like that her focus is not on JC. Her focus is, I had a career and goals before I met you.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So I'm still working on. So he knows she got checkpoints on my.
Yeah.
But Jilly, I was looking when you was asking about the other girls. Jalen here was like,
Right, I tell
it ain't nobody up in here.
Yes.
Crystal, what is her name? Janelle, Crystal or Kristen?
Krista.
He like, no, you ain't about to put me in nothing. Krista is the one, and I have a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? And girlfriends like to be mentioned. They like to say, "Yay, I'm here. That's my boyfriend," right? So we mentioned you today, Krista. So wherever you're at, keep going, girl. Okay.
And if I could share this, I remember years ago, my son Jonathan had an aha moment. He said, "Mom, I figured it out." I said, "What'd you figure out?" He said, "I figured it out." He said, "I watched LeBron James," and he started naming all these players. He said they had their girlfriends when they was young. And that, I believe that's why they successful, because they didn't have to worry about all the others. I said, you might have figured it out. And so he watched that. He looked at players who either high school sweethearts or knew them when they weren't somebody and rolled it out with them. And I said, okay, well, if that's the formula and it works, that's a good formula.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I think that's true. I remember, I say this jokingly, but I'm serious. Do you remember, it's probably the year, Jalen, what year was CD Lamb drafted?
2020 or 2021.
Okay. So if you guys remember, if you watch the NFL draft, we watched the first round and then we kind of taper off. But you remember that draft?
Yeah.
There were a couple incidents with the girlfriends on live TV as the boys' names are being read. And the one was extremely where the mom, she just wouldn't get off her son's lap. And the mom had to basically remove her from her. Oh, yes. So I remember I said to Jalen, not that Krista or any young woman I believe would act like this, but child, my patience isn't set up for that. So make sure you get somebody that aligns with
Oh my goodness.
what you need, but also just come on, y'all.
That's the thing. I mean, people don't realize by the time you get to that journey and your kid is getting drafted, whether in the NBA, Jillian, or when our boys go to, the NFL, everybody better know how to act, because I'm going to be the one popping my collar. Don't play with me. You sit down, unless you his wife by that time. You sit down, daddy sit, everybody sit down. Cause see, that's my moment to shine right now. Cause everybody, you get what I'm saying? When it comes down to what you just said, Janelle, don't come up in here acting crazy. Cause we're actually going to have a show that talks about dating when you're in college, when you're an athlete. We're also going to have a show, Jalen and Janelle, about whose money is it anyway? When you start making NIL money, is it some of it our money or is it all your money? Jillian got mixed reviews. So do I.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing to me. I was telling my husband, I said, it's amazing to me when Jonathan says, I want to be in a position to help my family. I said, what the hell is coming?
So I totally agree. Our thing with Jalen right now is that's your money, but the money you supposed to put on that Amex, you gonna put on that Amex.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
But you know what? I find that the boys that we do have, they want to contribute and take care of their parents in whatever capacity if they get to where they're getting to, and they have it in their heart already. You get what I'm saying? And do things for their parents. But I will say, you do go back to thinking, I spent thousands of dollars on the road,
Thousands.
going all around the world so that you can get here. And,
Yeah.
and it's not that we want to take ownership of the money, but that's a great question because Jillian brought that up. Whose money is it anyway?
No, I
Really?
brought it as a topic. I think that would be
You brought it up because it's a good topic.
yes, an interesting conversation to have where you have and I say this because when my husband, I'll just to take this real quick. My husband would take the boys to the tournaments, and then there was one time that he could not take them, and I had to take them. It was 8 o'clock. I think I had to be on the call. So I went, and I've been in corporate America for a number of years, and I'm going through tournament to tournament and gym, basketball stadium, and I said, what everybody thought their son was going to be a LeBron James. I said, statistically, that doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So start doing the research, and it was 0.04% that your child would get a Division I scholarship. Not saying that they were going to go to the pros just to get a scholarship. And so I was asking myself, would it just make more sense to just save this money for a college degree? And so anyway, that's what I'm saying. You make a lot of investments, and let's just talk.
I think it's that part of the conversation. I also think it's, not everyone, is blessed to have parents who can afford to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of our young men, this college scholarship may be a way to solve a financial crisis in their family. It really just depends. And so I think, it's not all, obviously we speak from our own experiences and situations as far as our view on it. But, I remember one thing we told Jalen up front is, to your earlier point, Jillian, Erica, he had to discover his why.
Right.
And figure out what was going to motivate him, because there are others on his team and other teams across this country where this could be a life changer for some of these families.
Absolutely.
And so, everyone's going to have their why and their motivation for why they want to be great and why they want to continue to pursue it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, before you guys leave, Jillian, unless you have more questions.
I do not. This was great.
My one thing, I want you to sum up your journey in one word. Jalen and then Janelle.
I guess I would say just like determined, I guess.
I love that. Janelle?
I would say blessed. And we're having fun, but we're very blessed. We consider ourselves very blessed.
That is awesome. Amen. Well, we love that. And we've enjoyed you guys being here today. You've been an inspiration, I'm pretty sure, to a lot of families that are out there that's traveling or have traveled the same road you have. So thank you for coming to share your story. Jalen, let's make some big plays this year. Go back to the Natty. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I'm going to say go blue to my Go Blue family. And then we will see you guys at the tailgate.
Go blue.
Go blue.
Go blue.
Have a good one. Wow. Jillian. Woo.
Great. Great family. Great family.
Man, when you think about
I'm flashing.
You flashing?
Yes,
Y'all, we in the huddle with it. Jillian is flashing. She's hot. Okay.
I endured throughout the whole call. I am flashing.
Ooh, good, Jillian. You did good.
Yeah. Let me get
Jillian, like, forget that. But Jillian, I gotta find my my legal note thing. I don't know what I did with it.
Okay.
I don't know what I did with it, but if I didn't, we gotta talk about some stuff, because the stuff that came down with the House v. NCAA.
Oh my goodness.
For the legal note, I wanted to get specific information as it relates to what the issues were. and what the issues have been. Thank you, Jillian. Because we talked about how our boys are now able to get paid for what? Their name, their image, and their likeness, right? So we just won on June, was it June the 5th or June the 6th, where House v. NCAA, our boys are able to get paid for their name, image, and likeness. Is no more sanctionable according to the NCAA. But guess what? We got some issues that's happening within this thing, where Deloitte is one of the people that will be looking at, the players within the clearinghouse. So last week, I took some notes. The College Sports Commission, which is the CSC operating through the Deloitte's NIL Go Clearinghouse, rejected dozens of NIL deals between players and donor-backed collectives, which is sparking a major backlash in the legal alarm. Sure. So what does that mean? They're not talking about the third-party money that's on the outside. They're talking about the donor-backed collectives. That is the majority of the money that most of the athletes that your son is making some from, my son is making money from. Right. So the donor-backed collectives. So what was it? Why did they reject it? It said all collective-based deals are rejected. Every one of them. Every one of them. Why? On July 10th through 11th, the clearance team, this is what the clearance team did, sent a 3-page memo to Division I athletic directors, and this is what they were stating, that the collective funded deals failed to meet the valid business purpose standard required for third-party NIL contracts. So what they were saying is the no revenue justification. It says the rationale was that deals structured to funnel money to athletes via merch or drops or meet and greets without genuine commercial intent do not qualify as a legitimate business agreement.
So Erica, you mean to tell me there are existing or brand new? So does this affect existing or brand new?
They saying all collective based deals. So if you have a school that has a collective, that they sent it only to Division I, because a lot of the Division II and III, they may not have the deals such as Division I, Power 5 schools, that the Division I schools, all of their collective based deals are rejected, because what they're saying is a lot of the schools are putting in these agreements. You'll have a meet and greet, you'll have different things, but they're looking for what they call a valid business purpose, right? So the schools are feeling like they are in limbo. Why? Because this move has blindsided the compliance departments and the team.
Oh yeah, and blindsided the students, blindsided everybody. So keep in mind. So let's just use example A. Let's just say example A is Aaron, who went in a transfer portal, and he got a deal for X amount of dollars. Come to school B, and he decided to leave because of that deal. That collective deal is, so that's saying that's null and void.
Well, what they're saying is this is what it does to they're going to have, the athletes are probably going to have to be awaiting payments, because now they're facing uncertain futures and recruiting pipelines are at risk. So what they're saying is when a person has committed and signed a deal saying we're going to come here, they put it in this NIL Go database. Deloitte looks at it and say, okay, where's the valid where is the valid genuine the valid genuine business purpose of this agreement? Right. So what they're saying is we need to make sure that whoever is entering into these collectives, that there is a valid genuine business deal that you guys are doing, not these little things of paying millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars to these athletes for not a valid reason. It's almost like they don't want them to pay to play. But let's talk about that, Jill.
But I got another question for you. So, yeah. but these student athletes have already signed a contract. So what about those individuals that have signed the contract that includes a collective? Now the university is now in breach of the contract because you signed this.
No, well, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get a lot of people filing lawsuits to file an injunction to stop Deloitte from doing this and rejecting these things. So they're going to start filing these lawsuits, because think about it, Jillian, it really puts us right back at square one of we're going to dictate how much money you can make, and you can't get pay to play. But when you think about the term pay to play, a lot of college athletes wouldn't have went to the schools they went to if they didn't play the game that they played. How about we just be real about this thing? They are there to pay, to play football, to play basketball, to play baseball. And then you say, well, you can't get paid to play. Why not? The NFL do it because what we've looked at now is in college landscape, it's like the mini pros. So the pros are there. They get paid to do what, Jillian? To play.
To play. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting. And like you said, there are going to be unfortunately, some lawsuits. There's going to be, one of the things that you don't want it to do is hamper and the playing time, not playing time, but I think my son need his medicine. But the time, I mean, and I don't have to do a marketing tip because I think this is worth the conversation that we're having.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of the reasons why we have this podcast is because this landscape continues to change. It continues to baffle our minds. And as parents, we need to be on top of this and need to be informed how it impacts our children and their lives and futures.
Because it's coming directly to us. And see, the supply shock in the NIL market, the power conferences did this. They relied heavily on collectors to route NIL funds. With these deals, they are now, here's what it say, Jillian, voided. And it's a major new pathway to athlete compensation has vanished practically overnight.
Oh, girl. I need to.
I'm gonna give y'all more updates. See, that's just a little thrown in it because this stuff just came out in July, Jillian. So now Deloitte is rejecting the collective-based NIL deal. So now the schools have to scramble to make sure that they can continue paying the athletes.
Wow. Yeah.
So, that was the legal tip, but I will tell you this: it's going to be more of that because I got to do more research.
I don't even have anything to add. That legal tip was mind blowing. I know we had talked about it either last week when it first came out.
Yeah,
you have given us some additional information. I would recommend to anyone that's listening, if your child is a high school student and or a college student, make sure you read about this stuff and know, one, what you're signing, and two, get more aware of what Deloitte is doing.
Yeah. And if you don't want to read about it, come to Moms in the Huddle.
Come to Moms in the Huddle.
Like, comment, subscribe, because here's the thing. We're going to give you what's going on with that. We're going to continue to follow through because we need to know whose hands are going to get tied, because a lot of the times it falls back down on the athletes. Their hands are getting tied with not being able to get compensated for what they do and what they were promised. Right?
That was it.
Yeah. So, this was the edition of Moms in the Huddle. We're getting better and better and better and better. Next week, Jillian, we have Fred Sharp,
yes.
MLB baseball player, business owner, entrepreneur. I'm excited about that show. Super excited.
I am too. Yes, that's fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Well, I have an injured son.
Yes.
That needs mommy's attention. He pulled his ACL, and so I am Nurse Blackwell right now. So I have to give him his medication because I think he's in pain. So
yeah, and that's what we do in the huddle. So in the huddle, guys, we gotta go because mamas gotta take care of their babies.
Yes,
all right.
All right.
Have a good one, everyone. Bye bye.